Welcome to Red Bull Rampage. This is super exciting stuff, y'all. It is the 20th year anniversary of this event. And in the past 20 years, freeride mountain biking has become even crazier. We've got Brett Tippy out in the canyons, checking the lines, bringing the features straight to you so you can see what the riders are riding. But as for me, I'm gonna go deep on some bike checks because I have a feeling that what the riders do here and how they set their bikes up is different than anywhere else in the world. So we're gonna get off the top of the mountain, getting a little bit of vertigo here, and let's check in. Joining us now, we've got Jaxson Riddle here, transition rider, and his super special, highly memorable custom TR11. First of all, can we just start about this paint job? Because I heard earlier this is your first kind of custom build from scratch. So let's start at the basics.
So yeah, the whole paint theme's kind of based off my moto. It's, pretty much looks the same next to each other. And yeah, it was kind of based after my dad who passed away last year. So it means a lot. And yeah, I'm stoked on it.
Do you want to run us through your suspension to start? Because what it seems like is riders ride really rough, lots of compression. So what are you rocking?
So for the rear end, I kind of max everything out as slow as I can go, and I got a 600 coil in the back. And then the front setup, I just pump it up to like 100 and just run it.
Have you got some volume spacers in there?
Yeah, everything's maxed out as much as I can go.
Taking it down to the tires and the wheels. I mean, you've got these custom built i9 wheels, super beautiful, but what are you running?
So I'm running the mullet. Been running that for a couple of years. Got the 26 in the rear, 27.5 front. And yeah, I run about like 36 in the tires.
And are you running tubes, inserts? Like what's popular out here?
I feel like some guys run tubeless, but I've always been a tube guy and I don't know, it works for me.
Bringing it to the drivetrain, we noticed you've got a derailleur and a cassette, but no shifter.
Yep.
What's the story there?
Do a lot of Supermans and usually I'll hit my thumb on the shifter and it kind of tears it up. So just decided to take it off, and I don't usually shift anyways because I'm always in the hardest gears, so save some weight as well.
Let's bring it to the bars. Tell us a little bit about your deity cockpit.
So I believe these are 38 mil rise. Been running these for 2 years now and I love it. And yeah, deity grips are insane. Super comfy, yeah. Been messing around with the high rise a bit, but I don't know how they would do off the big drops, but yeah, we got some tricks planned, so that'll be sick.
We've seen a few of them come out already in just the practice sesh, so that's a really good sign for what's to come. What size frame are you riding actually?
I actually ride a small.
Really?
Yeah, I've been riding it for the past 3 years and yeah, I love it. Nice. Easy to throw around.
Well, we'll get this guy back to digging because the day's getting on here and we got to finish up some lines so you can go riding.
Sweet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Good chat. Joining us now, we have got the only competitor who has been to every single Rampage, and that's Kyle Strait. And this is his Commencal Furious. Let's start with the paint job because I don't know, I love it.
Yeah, the paint's insane. It's based after, I actually set like 5 different trucks, like old classic trucks that I liked, to Commencal, and they picked the best one out of it, really.
What makes this bike proper setup for Rampage? I mean, it's stiff, it's firm, but how stiff?
So yeah, I'll go on to pressure for sure. This bike is basically pretty similar that you can just buy from Commencal on their website. It's like a park downhill bike, 27.5 wheels, front and rear, 200 mil travel, front and rear. I'm running a boxer here, and I have 4 tokens with 168 PSI. So pretty high.
And that's after you've been like adapting some things?
Correct, yeah. I started with 160 this morning, and then I've kind of progressively gone up. Every time I do a clicker, and then I'm like, okay, that was how many? And then I go back down, put some more air pressure in. I think I have 245 in the rear shock, custom tune. And then what else we got there? Kenda tires, these are the Hellcats. I went with the Hellcat because I need as much traction as I can get at the top. If it was more hard pack stuff, you know, your wood ramps or anything like that, I'd go more with a pinner. Okay. But for here, I mean, that's my tire choice.
And you've been at all the Rampages, so how have you adapted your tires over the years, like from tubes to tubeless? Some people run inserts. Like, what's your winning combination?
You know, crazy enough, brands have changed over the years, but for me, I'm still running tubes front and rear. It's just a a pressure thing. Since I'm a big guy, I run higher pressures, and I like this sidewall stiffer, so I just run tubes.
So you got some Senses hits.
Yeah, so this is my signature Sensus grip. It's the meaty paw, and then SCG Patriot Sensus collab seat, I-beam seat post. What else we got there?
Some deity pedals.
Yep, those are stolen from T-Mac.
I was gonna say another popular rider.
No,
out
I
here.
actually stole them from him.
Perfect. Yeah, we won't tell him. Your secret's safe
Yeah,
with him.
no, he let me, but then he was like, "Are you sure you're gonna run them?" So he'll be happy.
Awesome. Thanks, boss. I'm so excited to see you here, shredding again.
Thank you. Yeah.
In the zone. Next up, joining us, we have got Nell here, a bit of a local hero, and he's going to show us the YT Tues.
So I actually run a small, and then I have a custom rear end so that I can run a 26-inch rear wheel. So it's even smaller. So I like my bikes really small so I can flick them around, spin, flip, all that, because I'm not riding much downhill track. So
nice. So you got the carbon front end, helping to keep it a little bit lighter.
Yep.
Aluminum rear end, obviously that's custom made. So
yeah,
and a mold for that.
Exactly, and a little more strength in the rear end for over rotating, under rotating, that sort of stuff.
All right, Ethan, we've seen a lot of custom bikes out here. Tell us the story behind your custom wrap.
Well, there's not much of a story because YT wouldn't tell me what I was getting, wouldn't let me put any input in, but they wanted to make it a big surprise, which they did, and I think they did an awesome job. They actually wrapped the whole bike and then clear coated over it. So it's like kind of paint, kind of wrap, so it was crazy.
And you've got the air shocks here. Tell us a little bit of how you're running them.
Yep, so my fork is full of tokens for that big progressive hits and whatnot. My rear doesn't actually have any tokens because I didn't have any to put in it, so I'm running it, and that's all I know, so it's probably fine. And yeah, so just stiff, super slow, so I don't get bucked off anything. I can take big hits, and yeah.
Let's talk about the rubber. Downhill tires, extra grippy, pretty popular here. But what are you running?
These are the Michelin DH34 in the rear and the DH22, so super grippy, wide, stiff sidewall in case, spinning and whatnot. So it's an amazing tire for here, both of them. So I'm really happy with those ones.
Nice. And are you still running some tubes? Tubes are pretty popular still.
Yep, I'm still running tubes. I'm a little nervous with the tubeless setup still, just in case of, like I say, an overspin or under like that, and air goes out, and I'm kind of ruined for the rest of the run. So.
What kind of pedals are you running? I do really dig that color.
Yeah, these are the Spank Uzis, I believe, and they did a cool bronze finish for me to match the Kashima and the other gold stuff. Got also the Spank Fibercore bars as well.
Ooh, nice.
And yeah, it helps with a bit of vibration. And yeah, they've also got this short stem. Like I said, I like my bikes really small and close to me, so I've got a 25 mil stem up front, keeping the cockpit all close to me. And then of course my seat company, Errant Seat Co., the best seats in the whole world. We'll have one of those on there, of course.
That's sick. And drivetrain looks like single speed's pretty popular around here.
Yep, I run the single speed pretty much all year because I don't do very much pedaling, like I said. So
I mean, why
probably gonna get some hate for that, but you know, I just ride down stuff and off big jumps and drops. Yeah, then we've got all the titanium stuff. We've got titanium bolts for the rotors, the brake mounts, you know, just all that little bits. Keep it light and strong.
Well, we're stoked to see you out here this week, Ethan. Getting some riding on the course already, so that's rad, and good luck. You got some local crew coming out to watch?
Yeah, all the family and friends will be out here, so it'll be awesome. I'm stoked.
Hell yeah. We have got Cam Zink and his YT Tues with a couple of other super special features on the bike. But Cam, let's start with the size, because a lot of people at home they're kind of amazed that you guys ride a bit smaller bike than maybe you need to.
I just personally think bikes are too big, like all around. My trail bike, I still run a medium. Sizing says I should be a large, pretty much any brand. But I guess you've missed one integral piece of this Tues, is that it's a 16. It's I just like the older one better. They made custom rear ends for us for, you know, the last couple generations, but this one is even a hair shorter than the last one, and it's far more progressive. When Gwen got on the team, he decided to make it a little more linear off the top and the bottom, and this is the best. I mean, this he won more World Cups on than the latter version as well, and it's by far a better freeride bike. So I was like, do you have any old ones? They're like, we got some new ones. And I'm like, I don't want the new one. I want the old one. So they found a freshie because I was riding a rattle canned one because I just like it that much better.
That's pretty rad. Is this maybe inspiration for maybe a future bike brand of your own? You know what you like, and there's other people out there that like that stuff also.
Yeah, I've been prototyping bikes for a couple years now and keeping it quiet, but I have a really, really good frame to ride next year for an established brand. So I'm shelving the idea for a while, but it has been fun. Even just as far as, will that work better? Do I like it? Get a hold of a factory in Taiwan, make something, and everything that I've, you know, not to be arrogant about it, but like everything that I thought I would want in a bike and I've been able to make, it's my favorite trail bike I've ever had. The 150 mil that I created. So I know that I'm on the right track, but it's, you know, building a bike brand would be a long endeavor. So I'm just shelving the idea for now, but at least I can bring this knowledge and personal R&D to the brand that, you know, I'm sure they'll announce it in like a month or so.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have a ton of experience on this stuff. So let's talk about the cranks though, because these are essentially kids cranks. They're 150 mil length, but you were kind of telling me why you like them and what they're useful for, and what is that?
I was just inspired by Remy Morton doing 130, and he doesn't need to pedal because he doesn't even run chain on his bike anymore, but I was like, you know what, let's try some shorter cranks. From the pedaling we do need to do, I don't really notice much of a disadvantage, but there's a huge advantage for being more centered on the bike, for whips, spins, even like flat flips, so like essentially manuals. That's better. They're obviously stronger because they're a little shorter, less leverage.
And how do you run your suspension? I imagine firm and aggressive, but kind of break that down to what it means at home, maybe air pressure, volume spacers as well.
They've done a little bit of custom tuning to the rear, mainly heavier oil, not too much else, but the fork's bone stock, just max tokens, not that much pressure. I have the clickers probably 4 or 5 clicks in right now out of 8, and probably 85, 90 PSI in the fork. And I don't even know what I have in the rear, honestly. Fern sent me it, a fresh one, said matched my previous shock, sent it to me, and I try not to really dive into the numbers. I just want to feel it. And then if I need to adjust it, and I'll write it down what it was at and then go from there, but I haven't touched it.
Let's talk about tires. We've already established you got the mullet setup. Seems quite popular out here, but what kind of rubber are you running? And do you use tubes, inserts?
I run a tube in the back. Michelin has been incredible because I think they're the only company to make a new 26-inch downhill tire. Like, this is their newest, you know, rendition, the 34, and they made a 26 just for us. I think I'm at 29 in the front and 34 in the back.
Rubber's super important. That's going to create confidence out there when you're getting some traction. And tell us about the brakes, because those are also super important.
Yeah, don't be fooled by the top cap. I just like the way this is the top cap off of their trail version. But this is Trick Stuff Maxima brakes. They have gold. I don't really like the gold too much, so I just put the silver from the trail brakes on it. And then all my hubs from Onyx are center lock, and then those rotors are actually quite a bit lighter, so I just kept the XTR 203 rotors on them. I like the center lock, a lot easier than 6-bolt. But these brakes are incredible. Quite a few tie bolts on this thing. Sensus is making tie bolts now. And the XODH drivetrain is definitely the best you could possibly put on a downhill bike. Stands, flow rims, they just came out with the MK4, the offset spokes.
And so that brings me to this rad sticker that you have.
The Jordy Lund?
Yeah.
This one I actually pulled off my own. Tyler Berriman designed this Jordy Lund sticker, and I ran out of them. I have some of the other ones, but this one I like on the top too. Zip Jordy fist bump when you're right before you're about to roll in, and I don't know, almost makes me tear up. Yeah, we gotta having our friend fly with us.
Hell yes. Well, thank you so much for your time. That was the most in-depth bike check we've gotten today, so
all right.
I'm really stoked on that.
Good to hear.
Thanks,
Thank
Cam.
you.
Have fun out there.
Thank you, I will.
It's getting towards the end of the day here. We're actually about to get kicked off the mountain because some rain's rolling in, but I'm stoked because we've got Tyler McCaul here, and he's gonna quickly run us through his GT Fury. Fresh custom paint job too.
Yeah, so I had this guy, it's from Price, Utah, Technar, paint me up kind of my dream bike with the matching fork. It kind of looks like a throwback to a Super Monster T, which is cool. Turned out awesome. Same parts I've been running for the last few years. But yeah, this is my favorite bike I've ever had. I always try to do something a little different for Rampage, and this one turned out awesome.
That's super rad. What size bike are you running for an event like this?
This is a medium. Fits me pretty good, like kind of fits me perfect. I should maybe be a small, but I like a little longer top tube and then super short stem. The Deity Micro DM, it's like a 30 mil reach stem, so bars are right over the fork, and yeah, does me good.
And tell us a bit more about the cockpit. Looks like your bars are pretty relatively flat.
Yeah, I run the low rise 15 mil. This bike's got a pretty high front end. I like to keep it low. I used to run the 38s, but just keep kind of getting lower. I don't know why, just kind of things change over time. But yeah, the Deity 15 mil, black labels, Deity stem, Deity pedals, seat post, seat.
And you just said some Deity pedals, you just brushed it off, but like what model are those even?
These are my signature pedals, which I obviously love. I think it's been like 5 or 6 years now, maybe, since we released them. But they're the Deity T-Max, deep concave, short pins, and they hook you in, but you can still like adjust if you get your foot on wrong, which is good for doing the tricks and stuff.
Rubber, super important, especially out here in the middle of the desert. What are you running and why?
Maxxis Minion DHF. I've run it since I was like 16. I'm 32, so half my life. And I rarely ever put anything else on because I don't see any reason to try anything different.
Totally. And still running tubes in there for a little extra push when you get a little sideways?
Just because I don't like dealing with sealant and stuff, you just throw a tube in there. And tried the inserts, but they're just a pain. So I just throw a tube in.
Tell me about the drivetrain a little bit.
Shimano Saint. I run a full cassette. I'm like the kooky old guy now around here that still runs a shifter, and I keep getting asked why I have a shifter. Because people just run that setup with no shifter, but I like to be in the right gear.
What kind of brakes are you running?
Shimano Saints, again, no problems. I've been running these brakes for years, and they work great. You never really have to worry about them.
Always the big rotors, looks like 203s front and rear.
Yep.
Extra strong, extra aggressive. Beautiful. We haven't really talked about the rims yet. Might as well touch on them.
Race face rims, race face vault hub. It's awesome. It's like, what do they call it? Instant engagement. Lots of clicks to get super tech. But I love that hub. It's a new thing for me this year, and it runs great. And same up front, race face, wheel, rim and hub, and they're round and they roll.
Let's get specific on the suspension because that's what everybody loves at home. I mean, you kind of run it, I would guess you run it pretty similar to what you're used to. You live literally just over there.
Mm-hmm. So I run a different setup for like bike park stuff. If I were going to Whistler or something, I'd soften it up. I have 75 PSI in the fork with 7 volume reducers, which is I think the most you can put in. I think I'm at 250 or 255 in the rear shock, also maxed on volume reducers, and I kind of have a setup that works for me right now. I need to count my clicks to find out where it is in case it ever changes, but I'm not touching it. It feels great.
Thanks so much, man. We are pumped to see you back out here shredding.
Thank you, good to be back.
Yeah, good luck. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was day 1 on the Red Bull Rampage course. For myself, we got to catch a couple of riders practicing their lines. Stoked I got a couple of bike checks, but I wish I could bring you guys more. Truth is, the weather is rolling in and they are kicking us off the hill. So stay tuned, make sure you subscribe because we've got Red Bull Rampage videos dropping all week.